Today I'm going to show you how you make presentation the right way with AI. You can see here I have made a presentation with AI, but I was mindful to do this. All of these 28 slides are the main slides of your proposal for this illustrative company. You can do all of this with AI, but you need to be mindful to use the right technique. I have been doing presentations for the last 13 years, and the last 2 years specifically, I've been doing more than 20 client proposals, project proposals, and in each proposal I create a specific presentation with specific brand guidelines and specific goals. My theory today is twofold. First, we need to combine the craft is how do we make a presentation the effective way. What I mean by this is without, if you forget about AI, how do you make a good presentation? This is the question you ask. There is two components. There is the content component and there is the design component. The content, what should you put in each slide? Is this a presentation that is a supporting presentation because you're pitching directly, or is this something that you are sending in an email so people can read and get the updates about what is happening in the business, like a weekly business review or something like that? So there are specific rules and specific guidelines into creating content for each slide. We go through the craft, and then we will use the machine, in this case the AI, to read the documents that you have to help you along the way to get things fast. You read the documents that you have, you retrieve from your emails or for your Excel files, from anything you have, the data you have, your transcript from the recording or the meetings you did, and then it generates the slides. Here's the slides for you. It follows the rules that you give it, and then you are 80 to 90% there. You get the presentation that not only is fast to do, but achieves your goals, your business goals. So this is what's important. So let's get through it. We will go today through 4 steps, 4 key steps. The first steps is to give context. The second is to create the outlines. The third is to generate your presentation, and then you refine it. So for the first step, we will need to give the AI some context, because context is king here to create effective presentation. What's the goal of your presentation? Who are you talking to? Who is in the room? Who are you talking to? What you want to get out of this presentation, and what are some specific insights you can give that can help tip this presentation in your favor. So you do this, you can go and get the context. It can be some meeting notes like here. I am doing here an illustrative company which is called Novamart. It's an e-commerce brand, and we will use this as an example. Just we go through the full process. So what you can do, basically, you can just in a Google Doc or any documents put directly what are the information you have about the company, any information that you can have, you did have during your first meeting or when you search online. You can use AI to help you if it is a company you don't know much about, to search online about the people, about the company, about their performance, about their potential problems when you benchmark to other competitors. So you can do that. And then you can, of course, record your notes. You can use tools like Granula to do that. And then basically at the end of the day, you go and you put the goal, the audience, the key message, and the constraints of this presentation. What are your specific constraints that you want to earn, and the tone of the presentation. So once you have that, you will put into an outline prompt, a very simple prompt like this. You put these 4 aspects, and then you ask it to write an outline using the SCQA framework with some content rules. So basically, you give it your context, as we said here, and then you pick a structure. SCQA is just a structure to structure your arguments for this presentation. And then you can put other structures I put here. You can put more of a storytelling kind of structure. You can do the pyramid principles, but here we are choosing the SCQA, which is a widely used framework in terms of consulting firms. McKinsey, for example, uses the SCQA framework. So you do that, you pick the framework, you ask the AI to pick the framework. So this is here an example I built from scratch. This is in incognito mode, meaning that it doesn't know anything about me, about what we are going to tell it here. So this is, we put the discovery call nodes, and we put this simple prompt. So the constraints, the tone, which is attached, and then the content rules. So here we give the rules of writing effective presentation content. For example, you need to have one idea per slide, and then you have 3 to 4 supporting arguments. Otherwise, people will just disconnect. And then you will need to put numbers with some verified sources for any claims. This is very simple stuff. You can put others here, but the principle is the same. So we ask the AI to give the full context, which gives some idea about the layout of the presentation. And then we also ask it to ask us 5 questions that would make this presentation better, about what insights are specifically missing. So as you can see here it starts to ask me question: what does this number mean? What is cost reduction? What proof can we actually say from our old use cases in Tura Labs? Did we work with a similar type of companies? The dates, and also other aspects. So you can go through the questions, you can answer them, or you can just skip. You can see this is not important, or you can ask it to look online for information. Here, for example, I ask it to check for the average return of investment of this specific AI implementation online and give me some reputable sources. So it goes and gives me some insights there, and then so I can use it. And then you can see here it generates the first outline, that is the slides at a glance. Here it's very important when you can read the slides title, you can see the arguments, and you can see if it flows logically without even going to read into the details. So you go there and then you read the titles, and then you, of course, you adjust, you add any other aspect to it. And then for each slide, as you can see, simple messages and simple text that you can read with the visual layout and the speaker notes. You can hear the goal is to go over it, to ask the AI to give you additional information. You give it additional information about it. You can ask it to critique you, and then you modify by hand the copy to put your own words if you want. Here, for example, I have more context about the client. Here's the client context I put in. Can you improve the outline in the new file? You can call it V2, and tell me what you improved exactly. So what changed against V2? It got some specific insights, some information that are crucial for convincing the client. So now we're going to ask it to keep making some modifications. As you can see here, we have the V2. As we said, we have the changes and we have the modification, and I wanted to get me some more elements, some return of investment elements from online. So it goes and looks for a return of investment numbers online from reputable sources, and I want to get some outside proofs online. I can also put here some use cases we built with Tura Labs in my own agency to convince the client, some testimonials, anything you think that will improve the outline. The key here to remember is that to work on the text and the content first, because here is 80% of your results, and then the delivery is just the design. The design now, the AI can do it very well. We can just give it some specific rules, as we can see later. It gives me some specific insights, like here, for example, with bad product pages in the e-commerce brands, it can cost you 23% in clicks and 14% in conversion. The AI means it can help you generate more revenue because it can check and quality check your products, or either make the product pages. This is an argument we will put into the slides and into this presentation. You go over the content and what it gives you, and then the suggestion gives you a summary of the suggestions, as you can see here. And then you can say, okay, now I want you to put it in and to add it into the changes. So we start and builds the outline, the V3 here. So this is the outline and what changed from the second version. So you can go ahead and read, and you can modify, read at a glance and modify the titles. In my case, I just copy it into Google Docs, and then I can just go and modify by text myself. So I just go modify, and then I just save the file, and then I just give it back to the AI. So once you finish, you need to stay here as long as you need, because here you build your flow. Here's the most important part. Then don't jump into the making the design without having a proper flow and proper data. So this is like the core of your presentations. So once we do this, you go and you ask it to make a presentation. We give it some design principles, simple design principles to stay consistent within colors, to have 40% of roughly empty space, to at a glance you can get the most of the idea, because some of these clients, they don't have time to read and they don't want to be overwhelmed with your presentation. So there you build some visual hierarchy, and then there are other rules you can read when you get the prompt. The prompt is for free for you to check. So we give it the prompt, we ask it to review itself once it generates the slides, so it can autocorrect. So now the AI can correct itself and take some images, which is a big step up today. And also the last thing is that we need to give it some brand guidelines. So this is how the brand guidelines look. So what I do, what are my colors, what is my color system, how would the icons look like if I build the presentation, and any other information like typography, the font, specific fonts you use. You don't need to have all of this. What you can do instead, if you don't have time to build this or you don't know how to build this, you can either give it some examples of slides you made before, so it can reuse the same type of layout, or you can get inspiration from this website, which is called Slide Start, and it gives you a consulting level slide, so you can put it in, so you can build you in the same style and same colors, or you can build it yourself in separate discussions and put it here. Here is up to you. And then once you build it, you let it run for 10 minutes. Here it runs a lot because it does the quality check and then it improves the slides. You go back after you finish, and then you go and then you see the slides. So here the slides follow the same content exactly that you put in, and then you can export the slides to Google Slides. You can download it in PPT format. You can put it in Canva or any other presentation tool you like. So here you can see it generates all the slides. It's a good layout. It's expected design guidelines. You go over it, you see the supporting slides, and then you do the modifications. There are a lot of good arguments, and it talks to the specific person. It's not a generic presentation. This is a well thought of presentation. I want to end here with the goal of this video is to explain that in each thing you do with AI, you need to keep your judgment, and you need to merge between the craft of that specific thing you are doing, which is here making presentation, an effective presentation that convinces people of what your point, and the capabilities of the AI, in this case generative AI, to help you here, like to retrieve the right information, to synthesize it, and then to structure your thoughts and ideas to make the design. Let me know in the comments if you have other things you want to go through, like making reports, insights with AI. And if you like this video, you can subscribe below. Thank you.